More than 2,500 years ago, a man set out on a journey to answer one of humanity's oldest questions: why do we suffer? His search for the truth would give rise to one of the world's most influential spiritual traditions. That man became known as the Buddha. But who was the Buddha? The word Buddha is not a name. It is a title that means the awakened one or the enlightened one. It refers to someone who has awakened to the true nature of reality and is free from suffering and ignorance. The historical Buddha was born as Siddhartha Gautama around the 5th or 6th century BCE in what is now southern Nepal, near the border with India. He was born into a royal family, and according to Buddhist tradition, his father was a king who hoped his son would one day become a great ruler. When Siddhartha was born, it is said that wise sages predicted he would either become a powerful king or a great spiritual teacher. Wanting him to choose the life of a king, his father shielded him from the harsh realities of the outside world. Growing up in luxury, Siddhartha had everything he could want. He lived in beautiful palaces, enjoyed fine food and clothing, and eventually married a princess named Yashodhara. Together they had a son named Rahula. Yet despite all his wealth and comfort, Siddhartha felt that something was missing. He sensed that material possessions alone could never bring lasting happiness. One day, he left the palace and encountered what Buddhists call the four sights. First, he saw an old man. Then he saw a sick person. Next, he witnessed a funeral procession and realized that death comes to everyone. Finally, he met a peaceful wandering monk. These experiences changed his life forever. For the first time, Siddhartha understood that aging, illness, and death are unavoidable parts of life. But he also saw the possibility that there might be a way to find peace despite life's hardships. At the age of 29, Siddhartha made a remarkable decision. He left behind his royal life, his wealth, and even his family to search for the truth. This event is often called the Great Renunciation. For 6 years, he studied under respected spiritual teachers and practiced extreme forms of self-denial. He fasted for long periods and pushed his body to its limits, believing that extreme discipline might lead to enlightenment. However, he eventually realized that neither a life of luxury nor a life of extreme hardship could bring true wisdom. Instead, he discovered what became known as the middle way, a path that avoids both indulgence and self-torture, choosing balance, mindfulness, and wisdom instead. Siddhartha then sat beneath a Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya in present-day India, making a firm vow: he would not rise until he had found the answer to suffering. Throughout the night, he faced fear, temptation, and distraction. Buddhist tradition describes these challenges as coming from Mara, a symbolic figure representing ignorance, desire, and fear. By dawn, Siddhartha had achieved enlightenment. He had awakened to the causes of suffering and discovered the path that leads to freedom from it. From that moment on, he became known as the Buddha, the awakened one. Rather than keeping this wisdom to himself, the Buddha spent the next 45 years traveling across northern India, teaching anyone willing to listen. His followers included kings and farmers, merchants and monks, wealthy nobles, and the poor. He taught that suffering exists because of craving, attachment, and ignorance, but he also taught that suffering can end through wisdom, ethical living, meditation, and compassion. These teachings became known as the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, which remain the foundation of Buddhism today. One of the most remarkable aspects of the Buddhist teaching was his openness. He encouraged people not to accept his words simply because of tradition or authority. Instead, he invited people to examine his teachings for themselves and discover whether they led to greater peace and understanding. The Buddha emphasized kindness, generosity, mindfulness, patience, and compassion. He believed that anyone, regardless of their background or social status, had the potential to awaken and achieve enlightenment. This message was revolutionary in his time and continues to inspire millions of people around the world today. At the age of about 80, the Buddha passed away in a peaceful event known as parinirvana. According to Buddhist tradition, he had completed the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Although the Buddha is no longer physically present, his teachings continue to guide people across many cultures and countries. Today, Buddhism is practiced by hundreds of millions of people throughout Asia and around the world. His legacy extends beyond religion. The Buddha's emphasis on mindfulness, compassion, and self-awareness have influenced philosophy, psychology, education, and modern approaches to mental well-being. So, who was the Buddha? He was a prince who gave up everything to search for truth. He was a seeker who became awakened. He was a teacher who dedicated his life to helping others overcome suffering. More than anything else, the Buddha showed that lasting peace does not come from wealth, power, or possessions. It comes from understanding the mind, cultivating compassion, and living with wisdom. His life reminds us that no matter who we are or where we come from, every person has the capacity to grow, to learn, and to awaken to a life of greater peace and understanding. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed learning about the life of the Buddha, be sure to join us for more videos exploring Buddhist teachings, meditation, mindfulness, and timeless wisdom for everyday life.